I'm Shaniqua Paris, a BBC Newsround and BBC Radio 1 presenter, and welcome all to the Children's Media Conference Get In and Get On in Factual Content and Journalism. And this is the place where we'll give you an overview of what you need to know to succeed in this area. Now, this video will give you some insight into the live action, factual content making, documentaries, and journalism industry, covering how you could start your career. Now, we'll also cover the kinds of roles that are available to you and give you some top tips so that you can get in and get on. Now, our speaker today is Simona Carabin, the senior producer of Fresh Start Media's award-winning weekly FYI News on Sky Kids. Hi, Simona, welcome.
Hi, Shaniqua, lovely to see you.
Lovely to have you. Thank you for joining us. Now, to start, Simona, could you tell me a bit more about what kind of content is made under the umbrella of factual and journalism? And what is this genre of media and who is it aimed at?
Yeah, so factual, I would say, is real stories about real people. That's what factual television is. It's basically non-fiction. It's not drama. It's about real life. And journalism is the kind of more newsy side of it. So factual encompasses things like news, journalism, and documentaries. So, for instance, what I work on is FYI, which is a weekly news show, and that is kind of fast turnaround, topical news, a bit like Newsround, but we have child presenters instead of adult presenters. Our main focus is stories about children for children. So we have a real focus on giving kids a voice, and we focus on stories about them. So an example of a kind of fast turnaround news item for us would be these girls are making headlines because they've won their under 12s league. They're a girls team and they've beaten all the boys and made it to the top. So we'll go and film with them, and that will be like a little 2-minute news segment inside our 15-minute weekly show. So that's fast turnaround news, whereas documentaries are normally one-offs, I would say. So focusing on one particular topic and broadening it out. But again, it's real stories about real people is what factual and news is all about.
What would you say are the usual routes into working in this area?
So interestingly, you might think you need a qualification like a journalism degree or TV production, but practically all of the members on our team come from a real variety of backgrounds. So I myself did a drama and English degree, didn't know a TV career existed for me. I thought I wanted to get into teaching. Luckily for me, I got a job as a runner on a big entertainment show. And that was just like my lucky route in. But actually, what you realize once you're in TV is that a lot of it is word of mouth. So once you get your foot in the door, then it's just about kind of saying yes to all of these opportunities that might arise. And you find out about jobs on things like Facebook groups and a site called Talent Manager, which is a free site where you list your CV and all of these jobs pop up. And they're often kind of really last minute, and you have to say yes immediately to a day's work the next day. And then slowly you kind of build up your CV. Once you get your foot in the door, it's just about kind of building up your CV from then. But you don't really need those formal qualifications to get in, I would say.
It's nice to know that it's more accessible that way for different people, depending on someone's background, that they can still get into the industry without having to do the formal route. But then if you would recommend like a type of qualification, or would you say there are like specific areas that's still preferred?
Definitely. I think if you're choosing something like media studies A-level, something that I did, and you're volunteering for your local newspaper, or you're maybe at your school, it may be that your work experience, you try and get something within the kind of media industry, then that's great. Lots of universities do actually do degrees in TV production or qualifications in that sort of realm. A lot of productions I've worked on work with a group called the Mama Youth Project, and that works with people from underrepresented backgrounds within the media world and helps them get in. One of our production coordinators, she signed up for Screen Skills, so we got her through that. So there are other routes that you can do to get in to kind of focus yourself a bit more if you want to stand out in terms of your CV.
And you mentioned before, Simona, that you got into the industry through being a runner at the beginning. What type of experience would you say is helpful for someone that wanted to start their career as a runner?
So as a runner, really you need zero experience. I didn't have any experience. As a runner, you're doing all the kind of admin stuff. I was just on the phones all day long, phoning people to say, come to your audition. But if you show an interest, I mean, obviously you've got to love TV, and working in TV, you've got to kind of be a bit of a people person, I would say, because you're kind of dealing with people all the time. But yeah, honestly, like a runner, you really don't need lots of experience. It's just about getting that first runner job and building your credits up from there.
And then I suppose being able to get that job, like you mentioned before, how like word of mouth is really important for getting jobs and networking and building connections. So how should you approach to be able to get a job on productions, news, or print news?
We recruit people from mainly talent manager. Or I would say you can approach talent managers yourself. So lots of production companies will have their own talent manager. Certainly all the big channels, all the big departments. There's also production managers in those production companies. So say if you love a TV show, you can just Google the production company who make it, find in their team who's the production manager, who's the talent manager, and send your CV.
So like, what would you say are the kind of people that are suited to the factual and journalism industry?
I would say there's kind of two branches within production. There's the kind of editorial side, the kind of creatives who are kind of chasing those stories, finding them, filming them, getting them out there. And there's also like the really organized people who work in production who kind of do the schedules and run the show. But I think, yeah, you need to kind of be creative, driven, hardworking, like you say, resilient, because getting those jobs, sometimes you have to just be available at the drop of a hat.
And what kind of roles can be on offer and like how different are they?
When you become a runner, in production, there's these kind of two pathways, and you either choose the editorial path or the production path. So with the editorial side, you'd move up to kind of researcher, assistant producer, executive producer. And that's all about, like, in terms of factual and news, that would be finding the story, getting in touch with the people who you want to film with, going to film with them, editing the story together, and making it kind of informative and entertaining for the audience. And then there's the production side. So from runner, you would move up to production secretary, production coordinator, production manager, and head of production. And they're the people who, yeah, like I said, hold it all together. They book the transport, they sort the schedules, they book the crew, they're on top of the budgets. So you're really like, you work together as a whole team, but you kind of decide early on which route you want to go down.
Oh, thank you, Simona. I feel like you've given us a good like starter pack on like factual and journalism. Can you finish us off by giving us your top tips for someone that's looking to get involved in factual and journalism?
Watch loads of TV and care about these stories, like care about the news, care about stories that you wanna put across to people. Get your CV on Talent Manager, get your CV on Facebook, trawl those Facebook groups for the jobs, and just, I would say yes to every opportunity. Like, don't worry about being pigeonholed early on. Just get your foot in the door, and from there you can jump around genres. So yeah, just say yes, be nice, be hardworking, because it's all word of mouth, and you just really need to make a good impression to get your next job.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Simona. That's great advice. And thank you everyone for watching How to Get In and Get On in Factual and Journalism. And good luck in starting your career. Thanks. Bye.